In 1904, a German general issued an order that would later be recognized as the first genocide of the 20th century. Every man, woman, and child of the Herero people found within German colonial territory was to be shot on sight. Those who fled into the desert were left to die of thirst. Those who survived were put into concentration camps where they were used as slave labor for German scientific experiments. Germany would not formally apologize for any of this until 2021, and most people have never heard of it. This is the Herero Genocide, and it did not happen in the shadows of history. It was documented, photographed, and celebrated by the German colonial government at the time. To understand how this happened, you have to understand what German Southwest Africa was in 1904. Germany had claimed the territory that is now Namibia as a colony in 1884. The Herero people had lived there for centuries, raising cattle across vast stretches of land that German settlers now wanted for themselves. German colonists systematically stole Herero land, seized their cattle, and subjected them to forced labor under brutal conditions. Herero people could be beaten or killed by German settlers with virtually no legal consequence. By 1903, they had lost most of their land and were drowning in debt deliberately engineered by German traders who charged impossible interest rates on goods sold on credit. In January 1904, the Herero rose up under their leader Samuel Maharero and attacked German settlers across the territory. Around 100 to 150 German settlers were killed in the uprising. Maharero specifically ordered his fighters to spare women, children, missionaries, and non-German settlers. Germany's response was disproportionate beyond any military justification. Kaiser Wilhelm II sent a general named Lothar von Trotha to crush the rebellion. Von Trotha had already suppressed uprisings in German East Africa and China with extreme brutality. He arrived in German Southwest Africa with 14,000 soldiers and a clear philosophy. He believed that colonial warfare required the complete annihilation of the enemy people. In August 1904, von Trotha defeated the Herero at the Battle of Waterberg. The Herero fled east into the Omaheka Desert with their families and their remaining cattle. Von Trotha made a calculated decision. He positioned his forces along the edge of the desert and sealed every waterhole. Any Herero found trying to leave the desert was shot. Any Herero found trying to reach water was shot as well. Von Trotha's strategy was to let the desert do the killing for him. Thousands of Herero men, women, and children died of thirst in the Omaheke over the following weeks. German soldiers recorded finding the desert littered with bodies clustered around dry waterholes where people had died digging for water with their bare hands. In October 1904, von Trotha issued what became known as the Vernichtungsbefehl, the extermination order. It read, "The Herero people must leave this land. Any Herero found within German borders with or without a weapon will be shot. I will no longer shelter women and children. They must go or they will be shot." This was the first time in modern history that a government had issued a written order for the extermination of an entire people. The survivors who made it out of the desert were rounded up and sent to concentration camps on the Namibian coast. The largest was on Shark Island, a narrow strip of land in the freezing Atlantic Ocean where temperatures dropped dramatically at night. Prisoners were given minimal food and forced to perform hard labor. The death rate in the camps was catastrophic. German scientists used the camps as research laboratories. A doctor named Eugen Fischer conducted racial experiments on Herero prisoners, measuring skulls, taking blood samples and documenting what he claimed were racial differences between Europeans and Africans. Fischer's research was later cited approvingly by Adolf Hitler in Mein Kampf. Fischer went on to become one of the leading racial scientists of the Nazi regime. The techniques, the ideology, and in some cases, the actual personnel of the Herero Genocide fed directly into the machinery of the Holocaust 30 years later. By 1908, when the camps were finally closed, the Herero population had been reduced from approximately 80,000 people to around 15,000. More than 80% of the entire Herero people had been killed in 4 years. The Nama people, who had also risen up against German rule, lost around 50% of their population in the same period. Germany suppressed documentation of what had happened for decades. When the Nuremberg trials were held after World War II, the Herero Genocide was not on the indictment. The international community had not yet developed the legal framework to prosecute colonial genocide. The man who coined the word genocide, Raphael Lemkin, specifically cited the Herero extermination as one of his key case studies when he developed the concept in the 1940s. But because the genocide had happened in a colony rather than in Europe, it remained largely unknown outside of Namibia. Germany began acknowledging the events more explicitly in the 2000s, but stopped short of a formal apology for years. In 2021, Germany officially recognized the events as genocide for the first time and offered 1 billion euros in development funding to Namibia over 30 years. The Herero and Nama communities rejected the agreement. They had not been meaningfully consulted in the negotiations. The money was framed as development aid rather than reparations, meaning Germany was not legally acknowledging any financial obligation to the descendants of the people it had killed. As of today, no individual reparations have been paid. No German official has stood before the descendants of the Herero and Nama people and said the word sorry. The first genocide of the 20th century, committed in broad daylight, documented by the perpetrators themselves, directly influenced the architects of the Holocaust. And it took the world 117 years to produce even a partial acknowledgement. The question is not why nobody knows about the Herero Genocide. The question is why we decided not to remember it.